Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here, Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you who are seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is we discuss psychological, emotional, and coaching related topics in an audio format, usually on a daily basis. We've got over 280 audios, easy for me to say, up, and on a variety of topics. So hopefully something helpful and useful to you. Please subscribe, like, comment below, and all that good stuff. But today we're going to talk about how to increase your focus. Focus is one of those things that's really hard to master because it requires a certain set of discipline that if you're not in the habit of doing, it's easy to stray. And also, it also requires you to be mindful of the way your mind works and to engage in habits which allow your mind to work in its best possible light and not expect your mind to do miracles, your brain to do miracles when you're not treating it well. So there's 8 or 10 things here that I'd like to discuss about helping you to focus better. The first is, and it's going to sound weird, but avoid multitasking and choose chunking instead. Chunking is the idea of doing similar tasks in close succession. So it's a good idea to answer all emails or listen to all voicemails or make all business-related calls, or do all of your kids' homework at the same time. This is because when your mind gets set on one task at a time, it can devote all its energy to it. People often multitask because they think they're being more efficient, but the more your brain has to switch in order to do things, the more likely it is that your brain will switch off and go into overload mode and get less done or move more slowly. Now, there's nothing wrong with having an automatic task on in the background, like an audiobook, if you find that helpful to help you focus, or instrumental music or something else. But at the same time, don't choose to listen to a piece of music or an audio that you have to listen to deeply to get the benefit of. Instead, put on things that can be white or background noise so that you can get the audio stimulation without having to alter your focus. Remember to take regular breaks at regular intervals. Most people can only focus on something for between 15 to at most 90 minutes at a time before their brain's like a sponge and needs to be wrung out. A wring out can be a 20 or 30-minute break, but if you're a person with ADD, ADHD, then you need to schedule double the time to give yourself the breaks necessary to remain focused. If you're a person that has a longer focus, let's say 45 minutes or more, you still need that 10 to 15 minute break after every session so that you can mentally decompress. This doesn't mean you're weak. It actually means you're using your time more efficiently and effectively because the physical motion of getting up and moving will create the ability for you to refocus and remap in your brain how to handle certain challenges or problems. It'll also give you the ability to come back and be more emotionally balanced when making decisions. Now, the next one is do some mental exercises. Whether mental exercise is trivia or trying to remember your favorite album's song lyrics or something like that, something like a crossword puzzle or other brain game is also a good idea just to stimulate your mind's reasoning ability and doing focused work that has solutions. This is because when you connect with a solution, you are more likely to feel capable of connecting with solutions in other problem areas of your life, such as your work or your home life. When you can come up with easy solutions or solutions to things you already know, you reboost your confidence to come up with solutions that you haven't thought of yet. Next one is make time for physical exercise. Physical activity is essential to living well and maintaining focus. When you move your physical body, you also reopen the mental pathways, thus allowing you to create possibilities to see things in a new light and gain perspective. When you do the same thing over and over again, you are not actually doing yourself a favor. In reality, the more you repeat a pattern, the more likely you are to go into automatic mode and forget steps along the way. Take time for sleep on a regular basis. Now, this can take form in two ways. If you're a person that deals with insomnia or deals with restlessness or deals with an erratic sleep schedule, Something as simple as a 20-minute power nap, which I do throughout my day, especially working mainly second and third shift, can make a world of difference. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to give up hours of time to sleep in the middle of the day, but it does mean that you do need to pay attention to your body. When your body says it's tired, take that 15 to 30 minutes, go and rest. And believe it or not, once you reawaken, you will feel better and be able to go for another couple of hours as opposed to trying to push yourself too hard and actually lose time in the long run. Be mindful of where your mind goes and use mindfulness meditation when you feel overloaded. Mindfulness is the realization that all we have control over is the present moment. It's also an action of deep breathing and regulation of automatic systems such as the respiratory and circulatory and blood pressure, heart rate, and all sorts of other body factors. When we use mindfulness meditation as a way to focus, we begin to understand that we can slow ourselves down when we go too far and begin to understand how to block out distractions when it's necessary. Which the next point is eliminate distractions. If there's things that you do automatically, like check Facebook or your phone, and you're trying to get something accomplished, eliminate these distractions completely during the times when you need to focus the most. Just because we're used to being on our phones all day or reading Reddit or Facebook online doesn't necessarily mean that it's something we need to be focused on every day and every minute. Instead, give yourself permission to check these things during your downtime, but focus completely on the task at hand that's in front of you. Use active listening more efficiently. This means asking powerful questions, but also being willing to take the time to actually listen to what a person's saying and not formulate your question until they're done speaking. This will actually save you time in the long run and enable you to build better rapport, which in theory is helpful because if you need help, if people trust that you have their best interest at heart, they're more likely to help you than if they think you're only half listening to them most of the time. The next concept, and probably the last, or at least most important, is to make sure that your space and body is decluttered. So decluttering your space means having an organized desk or workspace, knowing where things are, but also putting things that would be physical distractions like rubber bands, paper clips, pencils to chew on, erasers of, etc. out of sight. The more trinkets you have for your hands, the more likely you are to pick them up and waste a couple minutes in distraction. Suppose you waste 2 minutes out of every half hour, that's 4 minutes out of every hour, which by the end of the day, an average work day, is somewhere around half an hour. In half an hour, you can accomplish lots of things. If you multiply that by a week, you're wasting 2.5 hours in the week. Imagine if you had 2.5 hours more to do things you enjoyed. You can set that up that way if you work on purpose. Second thing is fuel your body well. Make sure you're hydrated. Make sure that you eat when you're hungry, not on a scheduled interval, because if you're not hungry when lunch is scheduled, you may be later. It's better to bring hand foods like berries or nuts or trail mix or something healthy, avoiding high carbohydrates and high sugar items so that you don't have to deal with a crash. But it's better to bring those hand foods and sneak them in your desk than it is to force yourself to eat when you're not hungry. If you force yourself to eat, you may actually become more sluggish. Instead, focus on when you start to feel hungry, feed yourself then until you are satiated and get back to work or school or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Pay more attention to your body is one key factor in finding focus. Hopefully this has been helpful. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.